Welcome to another edition of Mulligan Speakers International MSI Showcase. I'm Diane Mulligan with Mulligan Speakers International. Every couple of weeks we come to you with our speakers where we talk about topics that we think you might be very interested in. It's also a great way for you to get to know our speakers and their passions and really see how they can integrate their skill areas into different topics so that you can see how they can really work with you and your audience when they come and speak for you at your conventions or meetings. Today we're talking with Thom Singer. Good morning, Thom. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
It's great to talk to you. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a professional speaker and a consultant, and I have a great time because I get to earn my living meeting fabulous people all over the country.
And you do such a great job at it. One of the things that I was noticing at some conventions that I was at was that when the speakers were speaking, there were a lot of people on their cell phones. And you and I started to have a conversation about that. In fact, I saw a tweet of yours that said, you now tell people to take out their cell phones. It was interesting sitting in the audience. I was thinking about the speaker's impression of knowing that are people really taking the time to tweet about what you're talking about, or are they doing something else? So I want to ask you, tell me why you're telling people to take out their cell phones when you're up there on the stage.
Well, our society has changed. It used to be they would announce, oh, turn off your cell phones, because the only thing you could do on your cell phone was have a conversation. And to actually sit in the audience, and to be on your phone and be talking to somebody while someone else is speaking and going, yeah, sure, let's book that flight or close that deal, that would be extremely rude because you would be using your voice, you'd be bothering the people around you. But our phones do so much more now, and we're so attached to them that to tell people to put your phones away, some people have sort of withdrawals. And what I've found is very often people are actually tweeting about what the speaker is saying from the stage. If the speaker says something really interesting, they want to share that with their social media crowd. And so they're actually talking about the speaker in positive ways. And the speaker saying, oh, put your phones away, or being appalled that they're doing it, is a disconnect between the speaker and the audience.
Well, it certainly seems to be that way, especially now with hashtags. I mean, many times you're following along with what's going on at the conference while the speaker is talking. But I wondered, is it ever uncomfortable when you're looking out there and all the heads are down and they're tweeting or Facebooking on their smartphones because you don't know what they're tweeting or what they're Facebooking? How do you deal with that?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that people should be forced to stare at the speaker. If the speaker is not captivating enough to keep the attention of the audience, then therefore, the audience has the right to check email or tweet or check Facebook or whatever they want to do. So I have been in situations, not where I was on the stage, but where I've seen an entire audience disconnect and turn to their phones or vote with their feet. Nowadays, South by Southwest is sort of where the convention is sort of where this got started. If you don't like a presenter, stand up and walk out and go to another breakout room has become sort of the mantra of attending a conference. And oftentimes, if you're checking social media and you think the person is boring, someone in another room might be tweeting about, wow, this is the best speaker at the conference, and people get up and leave. So I have seen speakers lose the audience where people either go deep into their own stuff, whether it's email or Facebook or whatever, or they just stand up and walk out. And I feel sorry for the speaker in that situation, but it's the speaker's responsibility to captivate the audience and keep them engaged. Now, if that audience wants to turn to their phones and start telling their friends what great thing the speaker's saying, more power to them. But I can tell you that not everybody does that. So if you have the audience fully engaged, only a few people are sort of looking down and working on their phones.
So tell me, do you have some tips for meeting planners about how they can make the most of getting people to tweet and Facebook and also make the most of their speaker interaction through that whole process so that they're really they have an engaged audience and it's engaged on many levels?
Well, the first thing is that selecting a speaker isn't just filling a slot. I sort of have a mantra that just because someone is smart or they've done something cool doesn't mean they belong on your stage. So one of the things that meeting planners have to do is really work to vet their speakers to make sure this isn't just somebody who came up with a brilliant idea or founded a company and people say, wow, let's hear from them. They really have to make sure that that speaker has experience on the stage. Speaking is a skill like anything else. It can be learned. And when somebody is really dedicated to learning how to reach an audience, you can tell, even if they're new at it, if they really are putting the audience first and looking at their time on stage is not about them, but really about connecting with that audience, people will know they're trying and people will be engaged. But lots of times it's different than that. Lots of times the speaker's just going up and doing an information dump. Telling stories is so important. It doesn't matter if it's a highly technical topic or whether it's a fun and light, entertaining topic. If there's no stories, if there's no personal connection from the speaker to the audience, people are going to get bored. I mean, you just look back through human history. The medicine men and the chiefs of ancient tribes didn't sit around and captivate the audiences and teach them by showing a PowerPoint or a pie chart. They did it by telling stories that mattered to the audience, and they engaged people. And that's really what people need to be doing. So finding people who can speak well on their topics is important. And I want to add, sometimes people say, well, we really care about the content. We don't care about the style. It's not too much to ask for both.
Very, very true. And I know when you deliver a speech, you always deliver both. And it's just a delight to work with you. Thom, thank you so much for talking with us. I really appreciate it. And thank you to all the meeting planners out there who are viewing this. We hope that you're having a fabulous day and that you're looking for speakers like Thom who really do want to engage your audience on all different levels and really make a difference, transform that audience and give them actual skills that they can use when they walk out of that room. So they're going to be talking about your meeting or your convention for weeks to come. Thanks so much. I'm Diane Mulligan with MSI Speakers. Bye-bye.